Kamala Harris did her first real interview yesterday. It was on Fox, it was unedited, it did not go well. Her campaign's over. Let's get into it.
Democrats voted. Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, and Donald Trump, President Biden had a fundraiser debate stage. Let's go back to Donald Trump.
So Kamala sat down with Bret Baier from Fox News yesterday, and you can honestly see why they avoid her doing interviews, unless they're the soft, cushy ones with the scripted questions that she already has the answers for. Bret did not really hold back. I was honestly kind of surprised. I was a little bit nervous going into it. I was thinking that perhaps he was going to, softball her. I didn't really know too much about Bret, but from the reputation that I've read about him online, he's not a very big Donald Trump fan. But Bret Baier did not hold back. He took her to school yesterday. This was a beautiful thing to watch, and essentially pretty much all ended her campaign. It was very evident that the interview did not go in her favor, as she was scheduled to do a 30-minute interview with Bret Baier, and she did 26 and a half before her staff pulled her off. I have 3 different clips I'm going to play back for you guys, and Bret went into some of the questions that people finally wanted her to answer. Question number 1, you've been in office for 3.5 years, and you're talking about turning the page. Check it out.
Frankly, exhausted of Bret.
More than 70% of people tell the country is on the wrong track. They say the country is on the wrong track. If it's on the wrong track, that track follows 3.5 years of you being vice president and President Biden being president. That is what they're saying, 79% of them. Why are they saying that? If you're turning the page, you've been in office for 3.5 years.
And Donald Trump has been running for office.
But you've been the person holding the office.
Come on.
Madam
You
Vice
and I
President.
both know what I'm talking about. You and I both know what I'm talking about.
I actually don't. What are you talking about?
What I'm talking about is that over the last decade,
But
people
you're the
have
lever of
become.
power.
But listen, over the last decade, it is clear to me, and certainly the Republicans who are on stage with me.
As expected, she didn't have too much of an answer there, otherwise than to blame Donald Trump, as usual. That's also why I chose to use that clip that somebody put together. It was pretty brilliant with Donald Trump dancing. It's become pretty clear that she doesn't have much policy rather than just blaming Trump for everything. Because it seems anytime she doesn't have an answer in any form of an interview, she just goes Trump, 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 Trump. The next clip I wanted to bring up for you guys is a little bit of a tricky one, because she's trying to play on words here with talking about how she's going to follow the law. Check this out.
There's a lot of people that look back at what you said in 2019 when you first ran for president. And there have been changes, and you've talked about some of them. When it comes to immigration, you supported allowing immigrants in the country illegally to apply for driver's license, to qualify for free tuition at universities, to be enrolled in free health care. Do you still support those things?
Listen, that was 5 years ago, and I'm very clear that I will follow the law. I have made that statement over and over again, and as Vice President of the United States, that's exactly what I've done, not to mention before.
If that's the case, you chose a running mate, Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, who signed those very things into state law. So do you support that?
We are very clear, and I am very clear, as is Tim Walz, that we must support and enforce federal law, and that is exactly what we will do.
Now, do you see what she's doing there? Talking about how we've always followed the law, we will continue to follow the law, Tim Walz has followed the law. What she's pretty much stating is that they've used legal loopholes to do all the things that they've been doing when it comes to immigration. And almost telling you to your face that, I'm going to continue to use these loopholes, and I'm going to follow the law while doing it. It's a pretty big play on words that she's going with right there. I don't know if that was just my point of view, but that's how I seen it. It was a complete play on words. Now, the next clip coming up is probably the most important one that I want to talk about, because it has to do with immigration. Sorry?
Beautiful dog.
Oh, thank you.
What
That's
race?
Sheba.
Ah, yes.
While walking around and shooting these videos, I really do my best to avoid jump cuts, but you guys will not believe how many times I get stopped because of my dog. Either him tugging on something, or he bumps into one of his friends, or I bump into a stranger that's, oh, he's so cute, which I appreciate, but they can see I'm clearly talking. So, back to what I was saying. The next clip is the most important one. It's talking about U.S. immigration. And to be honest with you guys, Kamala Harris's answers are disgusting on this. She blatantly avoids taking responsibility for anything and just tries to divert everything to Trump, Trump, Trump. Once again, it's disgusting. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys are new. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Voted against that bill. It would have allowed 1.8 million illegal immigrants into the country a year. A lot of conservatives had a problem with it. These are the 6 Democrats. But more importantly, back to the original premise, Jocelyn Nungari, Rachel Morin, Laken Riley, they are young women who were brutally assaulted and killed by some of the men who were released at the beginning of the administration, well before a negotiated bipartisan bill. Former President Clinton actually referred to Laken Riley Sunday campaigning for you in Georgia, saying if those men had been properly vetted, Laken Riley probably would not have been killed. So if it wouldn't have happened, this is well before any negotiation. This is well before Donald Trump got involved in the politics. This is a specific policy decision by your administration to release these men into the country. So what I'm saying to you, do you owe
Bret,
those families an apology?
Let me just say, first of all, those are tragic cases. There's no question about that. There is no question about that. And I can't imagine the pain that the families of those victims have experienced for a loss that should not have occurred. So that is true. It is also true that if a border security had actually been passed 9 months ago, it would be 9 months that we would have had more border agents at the border, more support for the folks who are working around the clock trying to hold it all together.
Madam Vice President.
To ensure that no future harm would occur. And this election in 20 days will determine whether we have a president of the United States who actually cares more about fixing a problem, even if it is not to their political advantage in an election, because there was a solution, Bret.
Madam Vice President, it was a policy decision in the early part of your administration. I will let one of the mothers talk about it. Take a listen.
Because of the Biden-Harris administration open border policies catch and release, they were enrolled in the Alternatives to Detention program. This meant that they were released into the United States. It was not even a full 3 weeks later that they would take my daughter, Jocelyn Nungari's life. I believe the Biden-Harris administration open border policies are responsible for the death of my daughter.
That's the early days. So do you owe them an apology is what I'm saying.
I will tell you that I am so sorry for her loss. I am so sorry for her loss. Sincerely. But let's talk about what is happening right now with an individual who does not want to participate in solutions. Let's talk about that as well.
But do you want to answer
in
her?
all fairness, I told you, I feel awful for what she and her family have experienced.
During that time, you said repeatedly that the border was secure. When in your mind did it start becoming a crisis?
I think we've had a broken immigration system transcending, by the way, Donald Trump's administration, even before. Let's all be honest about that. I have no pride in saying that this is a perfect immigration system. I've been clear, I think we all are, that it needs to be fixed. We need more. I was just down at the border talking with border agents, and they will tell you, and I'm sure you probably, I know you investigate and you are a serious journalist, they will tell you, we need more judges. We need to process those cases faster. We need the support for those cases that should be prosecuted. They need more resources, and Congress ultimately is the only place that's going to get fixed, Bret.
Well,
that's how this system works.
That's the premise of this question.
But
there were
that's how the
90
system
plus
works.
executive orders that were rescinded in the first days. Many of those were Trump border policies. I'm not going to stay here because there's other things to talk about, but you frequently talk to the Border Patrol Union for support of that bipartisan bill, and they did. They supported it. But they also just endorsed Donald Trump and said, you've been, quote, a failure with border security. Why do you think they said that?
I think they're frustrated, and I get it. They want support. They want support, and that's what that border security bill would have done. These guys down at the border, these men and women, they're working hard. They're working around the clock. I get it.
So is Kamala doing okay?
Nope. She's down, Joe. I think they found out that she's retarded, and now we're basically fucked. Trump is killing us at the polls, so yes, we're gonna lose Joe.
Damn it. Wait. What if I come back to run again?
As candidate?
Yeah.
Well, let me put it this way, Joe. The only person in this world who is even more retarded than Kamala Harris is basically you. So no, Joe,
on, man.
you're
Just
not going
give it
back
another
in.
shot.
Let's let it all play out. Okay, we'll talk later, Joe.
Okay.
Women looking fine up in here.